We've made a tremendous amount of progress in the past 14 months. We are so pleased with the outcome. We think that we are materially addressing the challenges of an extensible and manageable network at high scale that promotes security, that opens the grid genuinely. It's not just about providing an IP address on a network, but really drives towards open standards at all the layers of the network so that we stimulate competition, we stimulate innovation, and we really start moving towards interoperability as we are driving down the total cost of ownership for our customers.
And that's the level of evolution, that it's not about point products, but it's about powerful partnerships like the one we have with Itron. Is about making things more open. So while our commitment with Itron was to do that, to say, hey, let's, in this reference architecture, that will be available to others, but our commitment is there's a lot that we have to do to partner and work at the technical level to understand how we do that and deliver to the customer in an effective way, in a very sustainable way. So we're really excited about this partnership. Our teams just work incredibly well. I think it's really most important to hear from the customer, and David, for you to share with us why the partnership's important, how it's going from the standpoint of BC Hydro, and lessons learned along the way, and we can share that with the whole community, because I think making progress is about the collaboration and sharing best practices.
And I'm glad to be here on behalf of the electric utilities who are looking for that next evolution into the smart grid. And I'll say this is a game changer for us, and I'll tell you why. These are two significant entities on their own, two companies to contend with by themselves in their own marketplace. We brought them together for a very good reason. And being from Canada, the analogy I like to use, this is like Ovechkin and Crosby on the same hockey team. When they're healthy and when they're not suspended. I'd hate to be the opposition goalie when these two are coming down the ice at us. And we're excited to be here, and I'm excited to be part of this partnership. And right now I'm being asked 3 specific questions when we introduce this technology, this solution. I'm the solution architect. I'm also the manager of all things operations for smart metering project. And 3 questions I get asked is, why Itron and Cisco? It seems a little odd. What are the benefits you're going to achieve out of this relationship? And what does the end game look like for you, Dave? So the answer to the first question, why Cisco and Itron? Well, we really we're spending $930 million on 2 million meters. Do the math, it's more than most utilities will spend. We want to make sure at the end of the day, our smart metering system can support the smart grid. You walk around DistribuTECH floors and you see all the advancements in technologies. They're getting there, but we can't get there without this combination, without this architecture, the Cisco and Itron architecture. And so we're a bit of a different entity at BC Hydro. We've got hundreds of thousands of devices out there, thousands and thousands of miles of distribution lines, of transmission lines. We've got 94% hydroelectricity substations all across 365,000 square miles of service territory. And this is a network provider who stepped up to the plate to deliver that. So our 2 million customers are all over, 50% rock and ice, 365,000 square miles. Good luck. We are going to get there. So all things being considered, we needed to make sure that the technology providers, the component and the service providers that we embarked on this journey with, had to have the DNA to recognize that risk aversion. We needed to see that experience in those roadmaps. But again, another novel concept that we were introduced to. Dave, it's fantastic you want to do this with our system. Let me introduce you to our roadmap. And it was a bit scary, a bit daunting at first, but then we recognized, well, these guys, Itron and Cisco, you've had roadmaps before. You've talked to utilities and telcos, and you've seen where they wanted to go, and you've developed infrastructure to support that. That's how we got to where we are here today. So we recognized that, and that was important to us in our evaluation process when we brought these folks along with us. Recognize that, and again, that factors into our evaluation of technology providers. Who can help us get there, and who can help keep us there once we actually get to this thing called the smart grid. And again, both of these names, Cisco and Itron, household names in industry and academia and coalitions in the standards group that I belong in. I'm sure, Jeff, you and I have crossed paths in some standards groups there. So, we recognize they're working on the same things we're working on. It's important for all of us to recognize that. That's how we're actually going to get to the smart grid. So as you heard from both Philip and Laura, we're looking for a modular architecture, something where network requirements change over time. We can actually plug devices, plug new network requirements into without significant investments in a new network or a wholesale change out to networks. In that we're seeing today with some of the stimulus funds, you'll see a divergence in networks within the same utility. We didn't want that. I want a single utility and I want it to work. I want to take some of these devices out there on the show floor, and I want to plug them in and see them work interoperable with the systems we're deploying today. By the time we're done, we're going to have deployed one of the most sophisticated, advanced, and intelligent systems that's out there. And it's real. It's living, it's breathing. I know, I've actually got a router in my home. I was just telling Philip, in my garage I've actually got a router hanging out. My wife thinks I'm a techno geek. I am, but it's talking to my meter and it's working. So it's here. They're ready for us. I don't think we're ready for them. And they've stepped up to the challenge. They've stepped up to the plate. We were down in Silicon Valley a couple of weeks ago with Itron and Cisco, and the stuff is ready to roll. So in April 28th, we're going to take delivery of our first set of connected grid routers, and we're going to start hanging them out there. And these devices are going to work with our metering system. And then at the end of the calendar year, we're going to transition over to a full IPv6 network. We're going to touch all 2 million meters. All 2 million meters are going to be traversing our network with IPv6. They're going to be wrapped, encapsulated. It's like, whenever I'm talking to the layman, it's like the Russian nesting doll. It starts off very small, and you add all the layers, and then you take some of the layers off until it's exposed to the Itron application, the Cisco network management system. And I would just finish this up by applauding Itron and recognizing the fact that they know that the traditional legacy AMI networks couldn't perform peer-to-peer connectivity in the field while you're actually trying to have meters talking out to a network at the same time. And so Philip and his team, great team, actually recognized that and went out to the marketplace. They were already there and brought Cisco to the table with us to get us that low latent, high bandwidth network. On that, you'll see faster power restorations to plug electric vehicles into our network. You'll have energy information like you've never had before to make better use of the energy you're consuming today across our province. But better yet, you'll have the comfort to know that you're going to be able to plug 21st century technologies into a 21st century grid. Thank you.